everyone to this first national seminar of the LEBPASS project. It's a project, as you know, which is co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. And we have been working on this project for about a year or more, I believe, 2 years maybe. I would like to now leave the floor for Mr. Fadi Yarak, who is the Director General of Higher Education in the Ministry of Education and Higher Education in Lebanon. Mr. Yarak, the floor is yours. Please welcome and go ahead. The session is yours. You're muted, Mr. Yarak. Can you turn on your microphone?
Excuse me, the video was on, but I was muted. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Good morning.
An honor to be in this important seminar with these prominent professors, doctors responsible of higher education in Lebanon and in the region. Higher education in Lebanon was known about a major pillar of this country's driver for growth and performance and prosperity. We're living difficult times, but hope together we can overcome the challenges. This project is important because it opened paths to everyone and would provide for graduate students the necessary supplement diplomas or documents that will help them that highlight their qualifications. And it's very important to begin such initiative first on the diversification of the service, but also it is important to get a more description of quality knowledge, and it will lead us to a assurance of quality. We're lucky to have we be with partners who are eager to develop the sector, the higher education sector. As you know, Lebanon has a lot of universities, and we follow different model in the world. We are between the American model and the European and the French model. Even few of the higher education institutions in Lebanon adopted the Canadian or the German university models. Ideally, what we would like with this project and this new diploma is to be able to enhance and expand the scope of the higher education institutions, placements, programs, to ensure employability and to promote entrepreneurship. I think the period is challenging, and Lebanon has to find some innovative ways to overcome it through the higher education. The youth and the young people are the future of this country, and we will work with you through this EU funding, and thanks to the Dr. Sufi and the owners of this project towards a better, a new diploma, taking into consideration what we call the LEBPASS, when this will be an opening for a new era in the higher education. I welcome this initiative and support the work of the colleagues who dedicated time. Thanks to the Renda and the team and the universities who are supporting this project. Also the European colleagues and the IUF, who are a strategic partner for the Higher Education Directorate General and to the Ministry of Education and Higher Education. Hopefully we will move to a better future together, but not only this, it will be a moment to have more innovative ideas and to improve, take from your ideas and initiatives to improve the human capital in our country. Let's build on it. We don't have other resources, and then together, hopefully, we can improve this quality of education in the higher education with more assurance of work, with more qualitative, but also with more innovation. Sorry for this short introduction. I wish all the best to all of you in this important seminar, and hopefully we will meet face to face soon in good health. Have a good meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yarak. Thank you for your time and for your kind words and support. It's nice to know that we will be supported, and we hope that we will be able to provide a good solution. As you said, education and higher education is the greatest asset that we have in Lebanon, and without education, you cannot build a community or a society. I would like to now leave the opening remarks of Father Talal Hachem, Reverend Talal Hachem, who is the president of the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik. Father Talal, thank you for being with us. I know you're very busy, and I know that there are lots of, with the emergency aspects we're taking on the ground right now. So thank you for your time and for your support of the LEBPASS project as well. Father Talal, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nanda. Thank you. I appreciate. Good day, everyone. Mr. Fadi, Yarak, Director General of Higher Education in Lebanon, Ms. Orla Colclough from the European Delegation, Mr. Jean-Noël Baleo, Director of the Agence Universitaire de la Francophonie, Mr. Arif Soufi, Director of the Erasmus Office in Lebanon, our European and Lebanese partners. It is a great pleasure to be seeing you all. I wish we could have organized this extremely important event face-to-face, but as we all know by now, the global situation in general and the situation in Lebanon in particular are having their weight on our activities and events. But I hope we will get to meet in person in the near future. It gives me a great pleasure also to be welcoming you all for the launching of this national seminar of our Lebanese Diploma supplement, LEBPASS project, an Erasmus Plus funded project through the generous support of the European Union, gathering many Lebanese institutions, namely the Directorate General of Higher Education in Lebanon, the Lebanese University, the Lebanese American University, Beirut Arab University, the Lebanese Canadian University, and many European partners, in particular EVALAC, the IUF, University of Nuremberg, University of Cyprus, Bretagne Sud University, and Espace Mendes, France. The importance of the LEBPASS project is manifold. First, it is a national structural project with a national structural impact. In other words, it is carried out in close collaboration with the Ministry of Education and namely with the Directorate General of Higher Education. And here I cannot but thank Mr. Fadi Yarak for the organization of this webinar under the patronage of the Directorate General. Once implemented, LEBPASS would lead to a tangible constructive change in higher education, as it would contribute to the promotion of the higher education system in Lebanon. Second, again, because LEBPASS is a structural project, if integrated within the Lebanese national education strategy, it would lead to the enhancement of the quality of studies, to an increase in the mobility of not only students, but also employees with visible and clear qualifications, and would obviously lead to the promotion of cooperation between the different higher education institutions in Lebanon. Third, this important project is gathering people who share the same interest, or I'd rather say the same concern, which is upholding quality education. They are gathered from different countries to brainstorm and put their know-how in the service of education in Lebanon. For that purpose, I would like to thank all the people who are working on LEBPASS for their invaluable enthusiasm and commitment. Our Lebanese partners for dedicating their vigorous efforts and their great ideas. Our European partners for sharing their experience and expertise in the field. And for each member of the project consortium who is sparing no effort to move with the project forward. Finally, I know there will be many presentations today on the project and its work progress, and I wish you all a successful webinar full of discussions and new ideas. And I hope to see also other Lebanese institutions joining this project, always for the best of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Talal. Thank you very, very much. Now we'd like the opening remarks of Ms. Orla Colclough, I hope I got it right, who is the Program Assistant for Higher Education, the Higher Education Delegation of the European Union in Lebanon. We're glad to have you with us in this session, and thank you for your great assistance and funding of the project. I hope it is a successful project. Ms. Orla, please, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the welcome, and thank you for the comments already provided by Mr. Yarak and Father Talal. As you have and as they have outlined, the purpose of creating the Diploma supplement is to provide transparency in the skills and qualifications of students at higher education institutes in Lebanon. As has already been highlighted today and in earlier meetings, the Lebanese higher education environment is characterized as being a very heterogeneous one, with the models from the US, Canada, and various parts of Europe, in particular France, having an influence. For this reason, it's important to have a clear passport, if you want, to communicate between different institutions at home, but also those abroad, as to what it is that young people have learned and the skills that they have gained during their studies. The nature of the project being structural is that it has a heavy involvement and an important involvement from the ministry. This should have a clear impact in the long-term sustainability of the project, and it gives a weight to the project, let's say. The overview of practices that has been conducted already in the drafting of the Diploma supplement has seen similar models of Diploma supplement like those created in Europe, the Bologna process Diploma supplement, and the basis that such a supplement would be given in the future, meaning the legal basis of such a supplement would be important to consider for its long-term adoption and rollout. And so in this regard, the involvement of the ministry and the support of the ministry in the work of the project is really important. I also finally just want to underline the availability of myself and of Arif at the National Erasmus Plus office to assist you in the project in any way that we can, and to support you in what's obviously a very difficult time worldwide, but specifically in Lebanon. So thank you for welcoming, and hope we have a fruitful meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support again. And our final opening remarks, but final but not least, Mr. Jean-Noël Baleo, the Regional Director of IES, Moyen-Orient. I hope my French is good. Monsieur Jean-Noël, it's nice to have you on board in the LEBPASS project, and welcome as the new Regional Director of the IEF Middle East office. And the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Brenda. Dear Mr. Director General, dear Reverend Father, dear representatives of the LEBPASS consortium, and ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's as well for me a great pleasure to attend this important milestone of the project, which is crucial in many ways. First, it is indeed an important project because it is in the Lebanese higher education landscape that, let's say, we can describe as composite. The implementation of the European Diploma supplement system established within the Bologna process provides a tool that enables employers and educational institutions to better understand what a curriculum consists of, which establishes, has been said, as well a form of normative grammar of skills and qualifications, and that would be an essential instrument of transparency in Lebanon. However, for this implementation to happen properly, a guarantee of equity must be put in place, which calls for, again, the intervention of the state or a regulatory and authenticating system that must be nationwide, durable, and of course in conformity with European standards. To achieve this objective, the collective mobilization of universities in Lebanon in a broader scale will be necessary. It is required to ensure that skills, competencies, qualifications are more easily recognized within and across national borders in order to facilitate, of course, education and training mobility, but also to establish clear standards for the access to the job market. Second, LEBPASS is an important project because it implies a partnership involving national authorities. And again, I thank the Director General. And I would like to stress that IEF is positioning itself as a partner of public authorities to offer expertise for the setting up of public policies. LEBPASS implies as well a number of universities in Lebanon who are members and friends of the IEF network. And alongside USEK, the project brings together universities of goodwill. And I stress as well the essential presence among them of, with its weight in the national landscape of the Lebanese university. Third, it's an important project because it's a European one. And the natural horizon for higher education in Lebanon regarding mobility, regarding cooperation, regarding standards, it is Europe. The IEF has been involved in many tempers, Erasmus Plus, and other European programs, either as a coordinator or as a partner. And we will keep our commitment in this project. And in addition to the support we provide through our participation by providing our expertise on the components related to communication and the platform. As it has been said by the Director General, Lebanese higher education is going through a terribly tough period. Painful adjustments will necessarily occur in the academic landscape. And again, if there is one thing that should not be, never be sacrificed, it is indeed the quality of education. In a context where anything that can contribute to restoring confidence sends a positive signal, this project, because it aims at establishing a kind of collective quality insurance through the setup of comparative standard of qualifications, sends such a positive signal. Again, to the Lebanese authorities represented by our friend, the Director General, I would like to reiterate that IREF's readiness to work with the ministry to provide expertise and benevolent support by providing the ministry with all the technical support it may need in defining policies and even legal environment related to higher education. Finally, Father, I would like to congratulate your team at USEK, who is heading these projects with an outstanding professionalism and a remarkable dynamism. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your kind words, Monsieur Baleo. It was very nice, and it's nice to hear motivating words at this period of time. I would now like to move on with our session and start the session with the more practical aspect of it. Before doing that, I would like to first and foremost welcome our attendees from Lebanon and Europe. We have some colleagues from Europe who are attending with us. All our attendees from other institutions of higher education in Lebanon and Europe as well. We have a large group of students who are joining us today. They are more than welcome because this project is aiming at students themselves. So welcome to them. I would like to thank our speakers for today for taking the time and the effort to attend with us and present their input and impact on the project as well. I'm Randa Chidyak. I'm the Executive Director of Grants and Projects Unit at USEK. I will be your moderator for today, and of course I have my colleague with me as well, Mr. Georg Sepman, who will also be moderating the sessions with me. Georg is from EVALAG and a partner in the LEBPASS project. Just for privacy and interaction, the session is being recorded. I think you've all received a disclaimer on it, and it will be shared on the LEBPASS website and our YouTube channel as well. Your microphones, we've already asked you to mute them, and the videos as well. For your comments, I will, your suggestions, comments, and questions, I will leave Georg to explain how we will be moderating that aspect. Please, Georg, go ahead.
Yes. Well, we thought that there are many possibilities how to interact, and the most we would like to suggest you to use would be to go to www.menti.com and type your questions there. You can also use the chat box in Zoom, and you can also raise your hand during the Q&A sessions. And maybe the next slide, Randa. To use Menti, you just need your smartphone or your laptop. You go to menti.com and type in the code 10858113, and then you can just, during the whole event, you can ask your questions, and you can, and that's the idea behind, because we are so many people and it will not be possible that we will answer all questions at once, but you can see what others are asking and you can make a like at their questions, and that would bring them up in the rank. And so we would see when we come to the question and answer sessions how to proceed. But if it is easier for you to use the Zoom chat, you are allowed to that. Randa and me, we are just sharing the moderating part. So I'm just watching how is the chat going on, and nothing will be lost. And if you just remind how to find the chat, you see on the border of your screen, you see the symbol for chat. If you click there, then you can directly leave your message there. And if you want to raise your hand and speak to us, and we can unmute your phone, then please raise your hand by the reactions button, because we are so many people, we couldn't see any of the screens. So if you raise your hand by Zoom, we will see you. Okay, that would be for the technical part.
Thank you. Well, now for the agenda, as you clearly notice, we're going to have an introduction on LEBPASS, and of course, we're going to have our partners from Cyprus, the University of Cyprus, sharing their experience with them on the EUROPass aspect. And then we will go into the accomplishments, and we will talk further about what future packages we have to work on, what future plans and tasks we have. And of course, in the end, we will have steps and closing on what are the next steps that the LEBPASS project will be going through. And of course, between those sessions, we have a Q&A session, but that does not mean that you cannot send your chat questions on the Zoom or Menti anytime you want during the process of the sessions. Well, now we will start our session today with our first speaker, and our first speaker is Dr. Rima Mattar. She is the LEBPASS coordinator at the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik, USEK. Her official title is the Deputy President for International Affairs and Global Initiatives. And I'm very glad to have her on board, and I'm very glad to have her as my direct superior and my boss as well. So Ms. Rima, Dr. Mattar, please go ahead. The floor is yours if you'd like to present your session. Basically, as I said, the presentation is on the LEBPASS project, the Lebanese Diploma supplement, the LEBPASS project, which is an Erasmus Plus project. Talking about LEBPASS itself, the European background of LEBPASS, the Diploma supplement, the innovative character of it, the project partners that are with us, and our work packages that we will fulfill our tasks, and what has been completed. About LEBPASS. LEBPASS is basically, it's co-funded by Erasmus Plus for the period of 2019 to 2022 to deliver a diploma supplement that could translate the qualifications and skills of students and graduates of the Lebanese higher education institutions in Lebanon and across the Middle East and Europe. So this is a task that is not just for Lebanon on a national scale, but we hope that we will go even more international scale. The European background of LEBPASS, as it was mentioned, it began with the Bologna process, which was seeking to bring more coherence in the higher education system in Europe. And of course, they succeeded. They established the European higher education area to facilitate student and staff mobility, to make higher education more inclusive and accessible, which is very important, to provide better quality and recognition for higher education in Europe. And as we mentioned, because of this entrepreneurship aspect and this globalization aspect. EUROPass itself has several components. It has the curriculum vitae, the CV, the language passport, the EUROPass mobility, the certificate supplement, and the diploma supplement, which we are currently working on in Lebanon. The diploma supplement itself is a mandatory component of every bachelor and master's degree program in Europe. So, and in Lebanon, we hope to go that way as well. Now, the diploma supplement itself, since this is our focus of our seminar, is basically, it's a flexible, non-prescriptive tool. It's capable of adaptation to local need and hopefully to regional and international needs as well. It has national and international applications, as I just mentioned. It will assist us to recognize academic and professional purposes. So it's not only being used for academic purposes, but it's being used for mobility, job recruitment, and other aspects that we can work on as well. It's an approach that excludes any claims and value judgments. It's a clear, straightforward approach that clarifies different aspects of our degrees and diplomas by providing them with official recognition. And this is why it is a structural project with the Ministry of Education and Higher Education. It's a tool to focus on outcomes. Learning outcomes are very important in this aspect, and this is the aspect all our esteemed colleagues spoke about before, about elevating the quality and excellence of education. It's an original credential. It's not a substitute for any other credentials. It's not a substitute for our degrees, whatever diplomas that we have. They are a supplement. From the name of it, it's a diploma supplement. It's an added value for mobility and accreditation. The innovative characters of LEBPASS. LEBPASS has very new and innovative aspect. The first is that we will establish a center in the Lebanese Ministry of Education and Higher Education for program competency and educational objective validation. So the diploma supplement is validated by the ministry itself. That's the center that will be established. We are creating a platform, a pioneering platform for students in Lebanon, not only Lebanese students, but also non-Lebanese students as well. And of course, refugees in that group that can also integrate into the platforms in the future. Any student who is part of the higher education system in Lebanon can take advantage of this platform. It raises awareness on transparency across Lebanon about delivered programs, delivered outcomes. So we are creating a more transparent, more visible platform to all. We are promoting mobility and access to further study and employment abroad. As mentioned, that is the EUROPass. So hopefully we will be more aligned with our European colleagues and partners in institutions of higher education and research as well. And the innovative character is that we are acting the LEBPASS as being a Lebanese project, is the first country in the region to unify professional qualifications of major university programs. So we are being the pioneers in this, and hopefully our aim is to go further regional and, as I said, international. We are providing a formula for equivalency between the different adopted credit systems in the region. As it was mentioned, the United States, the ECTS, the Egyptian Arab system, and as we just heard, maybe the German system. So it's a way to unify all these aspects. And of course, this project will not be successful without our partners. And I'm very glad to have made my acquaintances with all of them. In Lebanon, where the leading institution is the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik. We have the Director General of Higher Education, who plays a major component in validating and endorsing this project. The Lebanese American University, the Lebanese University, our national university, the Beirut Arab University, and the Lebanese Canadian University. And of course, we have our European partners, the Université Bretagne Sud in France, the Agence Universitaire de la Francophonie, and of course, Espace Mendes France EMF, and we have the University of Cyprus with us, and EVALAG, who are known as an accreditation institution, and the Friedrich Alexander University Erlangen Nuremberg. I hope the pronunciations are all going well at this point. So with all these partners, we hope we will be able to accomplish we are sure we'll be able to accomplish our tasks and objectives on a national and international scale as well. And of course, to achieve this, there are several work packages. Some have been accomplished and completed, and some will be accomplished and completed. You will hear about work package 1 very soon, which is the analysis of the current practices that have been occurring in Europe, the development of the diploma supplement itself, the capacity building, adaptation, and pilot implementation that will come this year, developing a national sustainable structure with the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, and of course, the implementation of a platform, the LEBPASS platform that we are envisioning. And LEBPASS quality assurance, this is a work package that is carried out throughout the project with EVALAG and the quality assurance team at the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik. So we're continuously being monitored and making sure that what we're offering and what we're working on is of quality. The project communication and dissemination, This is also a part that is occurring throughout the project. We will share with you our communication links at the end of the seminar. And the LEBPASS project management, which is being managed by USEK. And it's all the meetings that we carry out and anything that we present and organize as a team. So this is a little glimpse of the completed tasks that we will talk about soon. The analysis report, which will be presented very soon. And of course, the needs assessment report, which was carried out a survey. The workshop that was hosted in Cyprus, and the draft of the national principles of the diploma supplement. These are the 4 major tasks that were completed, and hopefully we will move on to the next tasks. And thank you again. And once again, I apologize on behalf of Dr. Mattar because it seems her audio system was not working very well. So thank you very much. And I hope we will be able to continue to discuss the aspects of the project. It's very important. Our next speaker is, of course, someone who is 2 of my colleagues whom are going to share with us their Cypriot experience or their experience in the University of Cyprus. So we have with us Dr. Sophia Stavrou from the University of Cyprus. She is a lecturer in sociology in the Department of Sociology and Political Science. And we also have with us Mrs. Zeniou, who is the head of mobility support of international relations services at the University of Cyprus as well. They will be sharing with us their experiences in the University of Cyprus regarding the diploma supplement and other aspects of, I think, EUROPass or the supplement itself. So please, Dr. Stavrou, the floor is yours. You have to unmute your mic, Dr. Stavrou.
Hello to everyone. So you can hear me now?
Yes, Dr. Stavrou.
Okay, thank you, Randa. Okay, I will start from a discussion about the diploma supplement as a policy tool, as a higher education policy tool, and then Emma Zeniou will talk about the Cypriot experience. More specifically. So the diploma supplement is a tool, a document facilitating the recognition of higher education qualifications, and we could start by an official definition of what it is. But I prefer to rather focus on the diploma supplement as a policy tool which acquires high relevance in contemporary societies, which are knowledge-based societies, knowledge-based economies, and within the broader context of internationalization. So this is the bigger picture in which higher education reforms take place based on the idea that higher education plays a pivotal role through internationalization, lifelong learning, enhancing mobility and employability of individuals. In this sense, the diploma supplement becomes a strategic policy tool for higher education institutions within a country and overseas. So the idea here is to discuss about the general stakes of the diploma supplement rather than just considering it as an extra administrative task for institutions and for staff. The EUROPass and diploma supplement specifically have been adopted as tools serving the objective of movement beyond national borders. The European Commission consolidated this action from the 80s with the enforcement of agreements to mobility in the field of education, training, and youth, establishing a system of recognition of professional education and training, implementing programs for encouraging mobility, such as the Erasmus program, for example, and providing instruments such as the European Credit Transfer System. The Diploma supplement was developed at the end of the 90s during the discussions of a working group sponsored by the European Commission, the Council of Europe, and UNESCO to respond to the need for comparability of programs between institutions and between countries. And its use was made explicit in the Convention on the Recognition of Qualifications that we can see here, the Lisbon Recognition Convention, which is ratified by 53 countries today. We can understand how the Diploma supplement relates to broader policy objectives in higher education if we look at the strategic objectives of the Bologna process that has led to significant impact on national systems in Europe, but also outside Europe, North Africa, and Asia. The Diploma supplement is, of course, as you said before, a structural tool for adding transparency on the content of qualifications, for decoding the credentials of a student, of graduates, with regard to corresponding education in another institution, another country. It is a direction that has also been furthered with the adoption of a framework of qualifications in the European higher education area, providing generic descriptors for each cycle defined in terms of learning outcomes, and also by the reinforcement of cooperation in quality assurance to evaluate not only comparability, but also the compatibility of the quality of this qualification. So the structural tools are related to more strategic objectives in higher education policy, which are the enhancement of the mobility of students, staff, and graduates, and more broadly internationalization, as well as the employability of graduates and lifelong learning, responding to the need to invest in a knowledge economy. So suggesting how to rethink the design of our academic programs, think about competences and skills acquired by graduates, and about learning outcomes of higher education more generally. According to the data we can have access to, the Bologna Process Implementation Report, the Diploma supplement has now been implemented in a large number of countries. 49 countries in the European higher education area meet at least 3 or 4 of the criteria of the DS that is being issued to all graduates automatically in a widely spoken European language and being free of charge. I will pass now very briefly to the benefits of the DS. So who are those who can benefit from the use of the Diploma supplement? The students, because the Diploma supplement provides an easily readable, internationally comparable description of their qualifications, the surrounding national system, and the quality assurance system also. It is a benefit from institutions themselves, higher education institutions, for saving time and resources, for providing answers about these qualifications, but also for increasing their visibility and internationalization. And for employers, for assessing the content and value of degrees and qualifications, since it can offer an insight for recruitment decisions. I will just say some few words about what these advantages mean. First of all, I think it is important to note that the DS enables a correct interpretation of credential, which has become increasingly important. in globalized societies with increased mobility. And as you said, Random, before, this brings to the second point, that it enables to avoid logics of recognition based on value judgment. The social status, for example, the prestige of a certain institution or a degree, based only on knowledge we have of specific degrees or institutions we are closely in tune with, explained, for example, by cultural or historical reasons, and which can operate as discriminatory criteria. The diploma supplement could also limit misunderstandings as regards to the value of qualifications in the labor market, misunderstandings which occur more often for some fields of study, the humanities, the social sciences, or even sciences in general, than for vocational degrees or applied sciences, for instance. The DS also enables to consider programs beyond what is considered as already known, programs that are out of the ordinary, small subject areas, new innovative interdisciplinary programs that we cannot easily decode, or programs that do not exist anymore. So it can operate as a communication tool between the different stakeholders within a country and between countries. And as a result, to increase the mobility, access to further education, lifelong learning, and of course, enhance employability for graduates. Finally, I think it is important to also stress that it is an interesting device for higher education institutions themselves as an information base for evaluating and reflecting on its own work, and for the national higher education system more broadly. Thank you. Emma?
Sophia, you need to stop sharing your screen so that I can do mine. Thank you. Okay. So. Okay. So I am Emma Zeniou. I also represent the University of Cyprus today. I wanted to say a big thank you to the organizers of this seminar today, especially Randa and her team. We had the pleasure, Sophia and me, to have met all these people, Randa, Rima, Georg, and many other colleagues in Cyprus last January. So what I'm going to share with you today, I wanted to have an overview of all the documents that belong to the EUROPass envelope, and which of these we use at the University of Cyprus for many, many years. I have the pleasure to work at the Mobility Office of the University of Cyprus, who deals mainly with exchanges of students and staff. So you can understand that these can be our tools, the diploma supplement and some of the other documents of the EUROPass. So let's see why EUROPass, this EUROPass envelope, this portfolio was created. Because people and young people, students, had to present their qualifications and skills in a professional way and in an equal way. So this EUROPass envelope, this portfolio, has 5 different documents. I think Randa has shown them in Rima's presentation. So this portfolio gives the citizens, the European citizens, and hopefully the Lebanese people now, the students, a clear and standardized means of presenting their capabilities and skills, which they have acquired either at school or at university or while studying or training. So as we speak, 31 European countries are part of this initiative. So these are the 5 documents. 2 of these documents are self-completed, so one can complete them him or herself. So the self-completion are on the EUROPass CV and the EUROPass language passport, while the others need the involvement of the home institutions and or the receiving partners. The EUROPass centers are the centers that were, let's say, authorized in each of these countries to be part of these procedures. Excuse me. So in Cyprus, the National EUROPass Center is located in the Cyprus Productivity Center. We have close cooperation with this center in Cyprus because of the EUROPass mobility document that I will speak about in a while. So let's see an overview of each of these documents very quickly. So the EUROPass curriculum vitae, the known EUROPass CV, is a unified document all over Europe, which is our CV. So it has a standardized template that people can use to present themselves, their education and training details, any work experience, any language they know, and any other skills that they have. And this is unified all over Europe. So if I am Emma and I am from Cyprus and I complete my CV and I send it to Italy, then they know this template. They know where to look for these skills or education details. So what we do at the University of Cyprus, because we work very, very intensely with the Erasmus program, we encourage our students or young graduates to fill in this EUROPass CV template when they wish to take part in the Erasmus placement scheme, which is the part of the Erasmus program that allows them to go in a European country and gain their first professional experience. They can find a host organization, a company, and they can work there. So in their effort to locate this host organization, they need to present themselves in a professional way. Their education background, any other skills they have, any other language they know, any work experience they have had in their lives. So we encourage them and we actually teach them how to do it if they don't know. And actually the careers office at the University of Cyprus also has a special course dedicated to the EUROPass CV. So let's move on. So this is how the EUROPass CV looks like. One can also do it online because the European Commission has a dedicated online space that one can use to fill it online or can upload a CV to make it in this format. So the EUROPass language passport is the second document that one can fill him or herself. So here you can present your language skills in any of the languages of the European, spoken on the European Union. It has 3 documents and it's based, what you show that you know is based on the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, which ranges between A1, which is the beginner's level, to C2, which is the mother tongue. So this is how it looks like. So the EUROPass mobility is another document that we at the University of Cyprus use very, very widely. So this is a certificate that records any period abroad that a person has, in our case, students or young graduates, for the purpose of learning or training. We don't use it much for our students going out for study mobility through Erasmus, but we use it in 95% of the cases when we send out students and young graduates for work, for Erasmus placements. On this document, we have 2 organizations. We have the sending university, which is us in our case, the University of Cyprus, and the receiving partner, which can be, as we said, a company, another organization, another university. And in order to issue this document, we need to contact our national EUROPass center. I mean, the students have to do that to get their number of the document, since this is monitored and registered. So they know how many of these mobility documents, EUROPass mobility documents, are issued. So this is the first page of the document. It has another 2 or 3. So on this document, the receiving partner writes what this student or young graduate has been doing throughout his or her exchange period. So we encourage all our students taking part in these mobility experiences to do it. Okay, we have a successful rate of 95% of them completing this document and have it ready later on in their lives when they are actually looking for a real job. EUROPass Diploma supplement is the one we have been talking about. We are the first university in Cyprus who was giving this DS, this diploma supplement, to all our graduates free of charge since many, many years. We are the first university in Cyprus. And actually, we were the first Greek-speaking university who was awarded the diploma supplement label back in 2009. And what this label was saying, that we were doing things right according to what we should have been doing, and that we have been issuing this document to all our graduates in both the undergraduate and graduate levels, free of charge, in 2 languages, Greek and English. The responsible services, issuing services for us, for the undergraduate study level, is the Student Affairs and Welfare Service, while for the graduate levels, the master and graduate and postgraduate levels of study, is our graduate school. So this is how it looks for the University of Cyprus. Now we have managed to have a platform where this document is issued automatically. We enter the fields of each of the graduates, and this is automatically issued along with the course titles. And the last document is the EUROPass certificate supplement. This is something similar to the diploma supplement, but it's for the people, the students who are on vocational education and training. And again, it's in the same way that it is issued. It's issued actually by the authority that awards the titles. So this is from me. It was short, but I think it was interesting for you. And I want to thank you for your attention. And I am at your disposal for any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia and Emma, for this very general, very in-depth and general presentation at the same time. It was nice to hear about the Cypriot experience, especially because you're our closest partners in distance. So hopefully we'll share more experiences with you as we move along in our projects.
And one last thing, Randa, may I take the floor again?
Yes,
I
please.
just wanted to take this opportunity, and in terms of sustainability, to take advantage of the results of this project to establish agreements with the Lebanese universities under the new Erasmus program, when we can use funds allocated through the mobility funds for cooperation with neighboring countries. So I would be very willing to discuss with any of the partners to create these kind of agreements for the exchange of students and stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emma. That's very kind of you. Thank you. And I'm sure all our Lebanese partners will be very interested in that aspect. We will now move to the second part of our presentations, which is the accomplishments of what the Erasmus project members have been able to accomplish till now. And our first presentation is with Dr. Diane Naufal. She is the LEBPASS project coordinator at the Lebanese American University in Lebanon. She's a very valued partner, of course, and she will be talking about the Lebanese diploma supplement needs, the assessment survey, and a little bit, I believe, on the benchmarking that we got to and the results of the survey that were conducted across the institutions of higher education in Lebanon. So please, Dr. Naufal, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm just. Okay, so I'm. Do you want me to share my screen?
Please, if possible.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so first I would like to thank you very much, Randa, for that generous introduction. And I would first like to thank the organizers for allowing me to present the results of the Diploma Supplement Needs Assessment Survey. And I would like to give special thanks to our colleagues in the Friedrich Alexander University at Germany, who actually surveyed the current practices in the diplomas of diploma supplements, using as models as benchmarks models of the European Union and those of the UNESCO European Center for Higher Education. And by doing so, they actually set the context on which this needs assessment study that guided this needs assessment study. So in my presentation, I am going to briefly outline the objectives of the LEBPASS project and those of the needs assessment study for the LEBPASS project. And then I'm going to shortly describe the development of the needs assessment survey and the key findings that we arrived at. And what are the objectives of the LEBPASS project? The main objective is to develop a diploma supplement for Lebanon to help students and graduates make their skills and qualifications understood both at the national level and at the international level, with the aim of facilitating the mobility of learners so that they can continue their education, and workers if they are seeking employment. But before we delve into developing a diploma supplement for Lebanon, we really have to determine if there is a need for such a needs assessment, if there's a need for such a diploma supplement. So we conducted a needs assessment study. And the needs assessment is a process that constitutes a review of practices and approaches in common use. It is a recognized tool that involves the assessment of gaps in practices and experiences, and it aims at prioritizing and bridging the identified gaps through structured, focused, and impactful development. Therefore, we want to develop, once we know what needs assessment is, before we can develop a diploma supplement for Lebanon, why are we conducting a needs assessment for the LEBPASS project? Basically, first to identify what are the practices that are being done, taken in Lebanon for conducting interviews, and by conducting interviews and focused discussions with the Ministry of Education and Higher Education. We also did, it also aims at bringing forward the experiences and the needs of different stakeholders, and this was done by collecting data through surveys and interviews. And then this needs assessment sort of informed the development of the Lebanese diploma supplement. Okay, when we developed the survey, definitely this, we aim to develop our Lebanese diploma supplement and model it based on the EU model. Okay, so and all the benchmarking exercise that was taken helped set the context for us to develop our needs assessment study, and for us to see what are the basic things that we should include when we are thinking of developing a Lebanese diploma supplement. So we developed first the survey in English based on all the previous work that was done. We piloted this survey, basically LAU and USEK were the ones that conducted the pilot study, and we made the modifications based on the feedback that was received. But it was very important for us that who was responding to this survey would respond in that he felt free, more eloquent to express himself. So we translated this survey into Arabic. And the new versions were piloted to check the validity and reliability among the different surveys to make sure that we got reliable and valid results. And then this survey was disseminated to students. It was disseminated to faculty academic administrators, and staff who are involved in student success initiatives such as career advisors. It was also administered to alumni, employers and representatives of chambers of commerce, and then to key informants in the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, such as the Technical Committee and the Equivalence Committee, professional organizations, and to NGOs. And basically, we focused on NGOs that are providing educational opportunities for refugees. Answers to by conducting this needs assessment study. First, we wanted to know what was the aim of introducing a diploma supplement for institutions of higher education in Lebanon. Who was to benefit from that, the adoption of a diploma supplement? What principles should guide the development of the diploma supplement? What type of education should the diploma supplement accompany? Which authorities should endorse the diploma supplement? And what aspects of graduates' education and professional experience does the adoption of a diploma supplement impact the most? And if we look at the respondents, those who responded to the survey, there was a wide dissemination of the survey, but we got 282 respondents. The vast majority of the respondents were learners and students, 47%. This was followed by faculty, teachers, lecturers, 32%. And then higher education, further education providers were about 30% of our respondents. And then we had 5% and 4% and even 1% were divided among different bodies that are related to higher education, but not directly, such as research bodies, employers, professional syndicates, career guidance professionals. So those are the majority of the respondents were direct stakeholders of higher education. Okay, so when we come to who or what organizations were to benefit from the adoption of the diploma supplement, we can see at the very top, those who are to benefit the most are the students and the learners. And these are the people that we really want to serve and help to move forward in their careers. So more than 90% thought that those that would benefit highly or moderately from the adoption of a diploma supplement were the learners, were higher education and further education providers, were international organizations, were teachers, faculty, career guidance professionals, and we can see the impact on learners, they need to find employment. For institution, it's the research consultancy bodies who want to know the quality of education that is being provided by institutions. And then we go back to the employers and professional syndicates and government and non-government organizations. In adopting the diploma supplement, it was found to be most beneficial or highly to moderately beneficial more than 90% of the time when applying for graduate and further education programs, in providing a framework for recognition of qualifications by higher education institutions, in recognizing degrees by authorities and employers. It was highly beneficial in applying for employment, in improving visibility and autonomy of higher education institutions, in defining and clarifying the learning outcomes that have been achieved by our students, in increasing their mobility and improving the understanding of different grading systems. Because as you know, in Lebanon, if we take Lebanon as it's on its own, we have different grading systems. So if our students want to move abroad, that everybody needs to understand on what is the meaning of the credentials that they have been awarded. We also asked them, when we want to develop a diploma supplement, what principles do you believe are most important in guiding the development of the diploma supplement? And again, more than 90% thought that it was very important or moderately important that it be a device that has international applications, that it not be left to the local level, but students would be able to use it internationally and therefore enhance their mobility. that it be a tool issued by higher education institutions to its graduates, and that it be issued automatically and free of charge. That it be a system to aid academic and professional qualifications recognition. And as we said, it is a tool that will be issued by higher education institutions, but we have modeled this tool that we have developed and that we want to develop based on the European tool and on guidelines that are set by the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, because the tool has to be applicable to the national context. We thought because our education system is multilingual and therefore our students study in a lot of languages, it should be definitely issued in the country's native language, but also in a foreign language based on the language adopted by the institution. It should be a tool that focuses on learning outcomes so that as students take their degrees, the employer or the institution that they are trying to join, be it higher education or for employment, understands what they have achieved through their learning. It is, and because this is developed as a systemic project, it is supposed to be centrally based and managed. So it is a hope that the Ministry of Education would adopt it and it become a centrally managed application that is regularly updated and can be accessed through a web platform. It definitely has to have national applications because it's supposed to be a national tool, but it also has to have international applications. It should be concise. If you put in too much information, it loses you defeat the purpose of having such a tool, which is supposed to clarify what a student has achieved. It should be a centralized device within the institution, because if every different unit develops their own diploma supplement according to their own guidelines, then we lose that readability, as our colleague from Cyprus just said, the readability where wherever you move, it is easily understood what's the terminology and what is the format of the diploma supplement that you have. It definitely should not have any value judgments. It should just carry facts, and it should be flexible and non-prescriptive. We went on then to ask our respondents who they thought the diploma supplement should be provided to, and at what levels of education. And most of them thought that anybody who was following a formal education, following formal education should receive a diploma supplement. To a lesser extent, those who were in informal education programs were thought that they should have a diploma supplement. But for the formal education, the respondents, about between 50 and 73% thought that there should be a diploma supplement accompanying their credential, while between 34 and 44% of the respondents thought that the diploma supplement should accompany informal education credentials. Who are the authorities that should endorse the diploma supplement? On the top of the list is the Ministry of Education and Higher Education in Lebanon, which seems very practical, because once they endorse it, most of the institutions in the country will also endorse it. Then it is expected that higher education institutions endorse it, the Ministry of Labor, professional syndicates, technical institutions, employer representative bodies. And we can see that this shows the importance of the diploma supplement, both for continuing education and for employability prospects and prospects of mobility. When asked what would the contributions of the diploma supplement, where would its contributions be more important or highly beneficial? So just 1 minute. Where it be, to what extent would the contributions be impactful? It was found that more than 90% of the respondents thought that it would have very impactful contributions when in issues related to quality, or in issues related to employability. It also would have impactful when we are promoting informed judgments about qualifications. It helps you to understand the qualification more clearly. when we want to assess teaching, learning, and assessment practices. It contributes very much to transparency, to lifelong learning and mobility, learning qualifications, and it is a tool that can adapt to the changes that are rapidly taking place in higher education. What priority levels should be given to the development of the diploma supplement? When we develop a diploma supplement, what items or aspects should be given great priority? And respondents said more than 90% of respondents thought that the first priority should be given to the quality assurance function of the diploma supplement. That means we should ensure that the diploma supplement is reliable and valid. What's very important when we're developing a diploma supplement is also taking into consideration the regulatory function. It means that it should be used as a tool to facilitate access into market for qualifications in Lebanon and abroad. Also, the recognition function should be given priority in the development of the diploma supplement, because the recognition supports the recognition of Lebanese qualifications abroad and the recognition of qualifications within Lebanon. Marketing is a function that should be taken into consideration when we develop the diploma supplement. And the diploma supplement can enhance each one of these functions in general in higher education. And some priority should be given to the progression function. That means using the diploma supplement to address obstacles within and between the education and training systems, which is something which is not very, which has not been addressed fully in the Lebanese system. That is the progression between different levels from between technical and formal education. And so the diploma supplement levels of priority, a lot of priority should be given to these functions when we are developing a diploma supplement, and the diploma supplement can enhance these functions as we look at it. And then we left a certain place for free comments, and I thought that and we can see that, and the comments were in different languages, as you can see, but the words that came out very clearly almost in all languages were the importance of a diploma supplement as it impacts learning outcomes, the importance for its use both inside Lebanon and outside Lebanon, and it helps you to continue your education, and that's said in Arabic, and for employment. So the same ideas are being reiterated. The diploma supplement is important because it enhances student mobility in terms of continuing their education and seeking employment. It allows their degrees or their credentials to become more clear, and the welcoming institutions can understand what the qualifications are, particularly that we have different types of qualifications following different types of systems. So it would seem from what we have found that many of the respondents and the stakeholders of higher education do agree that it is important to have the students' official credential to be accompanied by a diploma supplement, because it facilitates their mobility for further education and employment. And as we know, in these very critical times, our students need more opportunities so that they can move forward in their career path. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nafar, for this very detailed description of the survey, and I'm sure there is a lot more information. Dr. Naufal's presentation will be shared on our website. I will show you all of those details at the end. We can even provide a report on, also the whole report of the survey is available on the LEBPASS website as well. We will now move to our next speaker. Our next speaker was supposed to be Dr. Subhi Abu Shaheen, who is the LEBPASS project coordinator at the Beirut Arab University. Unfortunately, I was just informed that he is in hospital and he's been infected with COVID-19. So he is going through some hard times at the moment. We all wish him a good health, and I hope he gets better very soon. He is also one of the major players in this project. His presentation will be now given by Georg instead, and as well, he was kind enough to record a video of his presentation, which we will also make available through our website and our YouTube channel. So all the best health for Dr. Abu Shaheen. And I will leave the floor now to you, Georg, to present Dr. Abu Shaheen's presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Randa. I just have to find the right one because I have my own and I don't want to. Okay, you should see it now, I think, hopefully.
Yes,
okay.
It's visible. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just to mention what we said at the beginning, just give your questions to all the things we are discussing today into the chat, into Mentimeter, so that we can at the end sum up a bit the problems and the issues you the participants of the project and you the participants of this event would see. Okay. I think Sophie prepared some slides on the discussion so far we had in Cyprus nearly 1 year ago when we first drafted a diploma supplement. So it's lots of reading stuff, and I'm not intending to show all the details. It would be at the end of the event. It would be made accessible for everyone. Just to bring in some of the issues we discussed in Cyprus. Well, a diploma supplement for Lebanon should be modeled according to the diploma supplement issued in Europe, because we are the neighbored region, and it is designed to provide sufficient data to improve national and international transparency, as our colleagues before had said. And it's a document accompanying a higher education degree, providing a standardized description of its holders' learning outcomes as well as nature. And this means, well, it has to be for Lebanon, it should be available in Arabic, English, and French. And there should be templates for several levels of diploma degree, so PhD, master's, bachelor, and so on. And it should be promoted on all levels of administration and with faculty members. And that's the point why it will take a bit longer to implement it. But there is no chance. If you look at the Bologna process started in the 90s in Europe, and now we are 2021, and you have seen how many countries just have implemented it and how many countries are still struggling with this issue. But it doesn't help. We have to deal with the issue. So what we were discussing in Cyprus, the key elements of such a diploma supplement, there would be the information of the holder of qualification, the identification, the name, the first name, the place of birth, and so on. Then the information identifying the qualification, name of the academic qualification. There should be a name. Well, there has to be one specific name for the qualification, the main fields of study for the qualification, then the awarding institution. Then it has to be also mentioned in which language the examination and extraction would be. It would have to be mentioned the level of qualification, the official duration of the program, the credit hours. These are all the explaining information that belong to the certificate of qualification. And after this specific well, you have to mention you have to write down the learning outcomes so that everyone who can see the certificate, and he can decide, okay, this should be the competences of the person who I'm confronted with. And at the end, and that would be something for the international part, these are all the specific, the individual information, but there has to be additional information on the national education system behind. Because if we want that an applicant from Lebanon can study further abroad, somewhere in France, in Spain, in the US, then the university has to decide, okay, what is the situation? What is the education situation in Lebanon? What is the university there? Is it compared to our university? So this makes the normal degree, the individual degree, it brings it on a national level. And that's the issue. After the end, you would have a person who would have lots of documents explaining his personal educational career, but in relation to the surrounding who he is coming out from, so that it is explained, that you can understand where does this person come from, and what are the indications there, what is the situation there. And I think you will get the point that this one is nothing one university alone can decide, but the second part of the diploma supplement, this is something national. There has to be work between all universities. There has to be support and input from the ministry, because this is an official document you would need. And the others, that is something you have to discuss in faculty level, you have to discuss on university level, and then the universities have to agree on how does it look like. But the explanatory parts, they are not by the universities to deal. This is input given from governmental offices. So, and you see, this is a draft. This would be the first draft we had prepared, and what would be now the issue of the project at this very stage would be how to implement and how to try to use this first draft, just to try to look how does it look in reality in some subject at our university. I will come to that later during my presentation. For now, I would make just a cut here and give back to Randa.
Thank you, Georg, for this quick presentation. As I think all our participants noticed, there are lots of details in the template. We will also, it's also available online and everyone can view what they wish. We now have, I think, our question and answer session that we can actually start to receive the questions. I think we've received some questions on the chat and in the Menti platform. I think I can specifically deal with some of the questions on our chat. One of the questions on chat came from a colleague from Lebanon, and I think it was raised to Emma and Sophia. It was more like, can you tell us about the problems that you have faced so that we can avoid it in LEBPASS? So Emma, Sophia, what problems do you believe you faced in Cyprus when you were implementing the EUROPass or the diploma supplements? You're muted, Emma. Unmute your microphone.
You are right, Randa. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna talk first. In our case, we didn't face any difficulties in terms of difficulties, because when the decision was reached that we would go on with the award of the diploma supplement, we studied the guidelines regarding the fields that we had to fill in. So we had the necessary discussions with all the involved services, departments, etc. So we gave the guidelines to all services that need to provide details about the fields for the diploma supplement. So the whole procedure was very easy in our case. And it was very easy to apply for the diploma supplement then in 2007, 13, that period. So we didn't face any actual problems because the authorities also of the university were very much in favor of this.
So the important thing is that, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if Sophia wants to add
Yes.
anything on this, but from my side, we didn't face any serious problems.
So the most important component is to have the support of the authorities, whether it's the government authorities or the institutional administration, to be able to move ahead, yes. I believe.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much.
Bottom yes. up and bottom down to this result.
Okay, thank you. Georg, I think we have some questions on our METI platform. Can we share them, please?
Just shared the screen. I think you should see it.
But it's okay, but the questions are not very clear.
Just have a moment. Okay. It's now readable?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there was one, a holder of a BA in engineering, getting my MBA, not a mobility candidate. Am I eligible for the LEBPASS, the application process for the LEBPASS, and the additional cost to get a LEBPASS? Who wants to answer? Well, I would say from the point of view of an assessment and accreditation agency, of course, you are eligible. But it's because we should aim that this LEBPASS is also a national form of a description of qualification, and that would help you to find a job even in Lebanon too. And the point with the additional costs, it should be no additional costs.
Would anyone else like to share the response?
Yes,
Dr.
Randa, can I say, usually when our students do go abroad, they usually come back to the registrar and ask for course descriptions. They ask for what are the learning outcomes of the courses. So the LEBPASS is a document which actually summarizes all of this information, the important information about the degree. What are the skills? What are the knowledge that the student has learned? What are the learning outcomes of the program that he has gone through? What are the additional training or internships that he has done? So the LEBPASS sort of will include this information, which will enhance the possibilities of continuing education and of employment if you've done leadership workshops and what have you. But this tool is supposed to, as we're trying to say, if it's endorsed by the Ministry of Education and Higher Education and all institutions adopt it, and there's going to be a general form template for the entire country so that it is familiar, whoever sees it knows exactly what its content is going to be and is familiar with what the information that it holds. We are hoping that it would be definitely for free. It will accompany the credential of a student.
Thank you, Dr. Naufal.
Okay, then we have, who would manage the procedures around diploma supplement at the university?
I think I can answer that in a way, because this is something that has to be decided on internally in each institution, and this is one of the workshops that we have coming up, the next work package, I believe, with Georg, Evalag, and our German partners. So each institution would put its own internal procedures on how to manage the procedures, and where some institutions would say with the student affairs office, some would say with the registrar and administrator. You know, it depends on each institution's structure and governance. So I hope I've been able to answer the question.
Yeah. Well, what diploma supplement mean for the universities? I think we have already heard what it will mean. I think what it will implement will be a lot of changing of policies, changing of how to give degrees and so on.
And
Okay.
I think the most important is raising the quality so that we all are at high standards of quality.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Were you thinking about including micro credentials within diploma supplement so far? What would you say, Diane?
Yeah, I think that micro credentials have a place in the diploma supplement. Under additional information, you can add information like this in this section. It's not very definite, but micro credentials can go under there. This is what we do actually.
Yeah. And Diane, what do you think?
I know, definitely they do have a place, but I can say that according to the survey, many of the respondents thought that it should accompany formal education, which is university or school, high school education, more than informal education. But I think micro-credentials are still at the very beginning. They need to be formalized, or the more work has to be done on accepting and giving, certifying micro-credentials, and definitely they can have a place. They're just like the extra skills that you have that you can add to this diploma supplement.
Okay, okay. Will the diploma supplement be limited in any way by a set of activities that can be entered, the number of letters, science, etc.? Well, I think it has to, because we have to, at the end, we have to have one for all.
Yes.
But that's a form of discussion, and that's a form why we are not finished yet. We have still till next year. So, and I only can invite all participants who have been here today to become active partners in this discussion, I think.
Yes, definitely.
That would be part of my presentation.
Okay, we go to that. We go to that further. Yeah, we go to it later. Okay.
Thank you.
If Lebanese graduates are not interested in a mobility program, how will LEBPASS supplement help them score a job in Lebanon? Well, it makes qualification transparent.
I think this is the next part of it. At this moment, I think we've reached out more to institutions of higher education because it's an implementation process. But as we go along, we will be we have already, I think Dr. Naufel can verify this in the survey, we've reached out to syndicates. We're going to start reaching out to NGOs and maybe make it larger and get more employability in there. And I think when Monsieur Rave or Serge gets on, give the presentations, he will show you how we will be able to attract this employment component in the LEBPASS project. I believe that's the best answer to give.
I would suggest just to move to the next block of our event. Yes. And then at the end, we have a second question and answer session. And as I said, we wouldn't come to all questions and answers. I'm afraid so, but we will deal with them afterwards. We put it on the website. We have a Facebook website. We have enough place online where we can share the information. So nothing is lost, and you can already give us your questions, ideas, and suggestions, even to Menti in the next 7 days. It's still open. If you just type in there, we will see it. We will see it. So Randa, if you don't mind, I would make short my contribution. Just have a moment.
Because we're moving next to the forthcoming work packages and plans that we have that we will be working on. And this is what Georg means. This is where you can participate in the future packages or in even your suggestions in the last packages as well, or activities.
Yeah. And I think
Georg is going to be, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Georg is going to be talking about the capacity building aspect of the project, and we will be talking about that further and in depth as partners as we go along.
Yeah.
Please, Georg.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I think, well, what we have seen so far, the stage where we are, and we have already the draft, and just to bring it back to our minds, the idea is a worldwide recognition of Lebanese studies degrees. And this would support student as well as staff mobility. And it has to be take into account the demands and recent developments in the neighboring European higher education area. That's the setting we are moving. And we have already, well, done some preparation. We have a tentative diploma supplement principles template form. I showed it in the presentation before. And we have already a network of universities, not a big network. If you see more than 50 universities in Lebanon, and now we have a handful, but we have a network to expand. And everyone who is present today is invited to become part of the network. And what we now would need would be we would have to identify and to invite those faculties interested in first implementation, and then to do that by 2 or 3 different subject areas in the beginning. Just, well, we have to introduce our principles. Today is one of the first of these introduction series. And then we all have to identify those people who would be necessary to get into the boat and the key operational persons at the universities. And when we have found out them, then we would look to identify the faculties to come into. And the first issue the faculty would have to do, the first task would be to describe and to revise by that the existing graduation procedures, the grading system, the transfer equivalency, academic rules, regulations, because when you are filling in the template, you will notice that there is some information requested there that is, well, where it is provided in the procedure of examination and assessment. So what we would do in the next month would be to make a workshop on methodology of adaptation of current practices into a new diploma supplement, and just to bring in the current practice into harmony with the principles of the diploma supplement. And then we have to prepare and implement the first cohort. And after that, we would revise what we have learned out of that. That would mean that at the end, processes and practices and policies at each partner university should be different as before, should be better, should be improved. We would have at the end also an end user manual of the diploma supplement. Well, the idea of such a project is not a one from, well, we have a beginning and that at the end there will be a final goal and then everything is finished. What we see since the beginning, it is like a circle, Each work package we have to do, we have to look what we want to reach, what's the goal at the end, then we try to reach it, and then we observe the procedure we did with that. And by this procedure, we learn and improve the task. And that would be at the end when there is something like LEBPASS, when there is something like a system of internationally recognized education description for Lebanon, it is not once finished, but it will be always be revised. And that means also that there needs to be an infrastructure for this revision process and for this permanent quality assurance process. The project LEBPASS will at one time, it will be over. But there has to be a sustainable organization, a form of infrastructure just to guarantee that it is going further, that the development is going further. It's the same, we see it. Bologna process in Europe started in the 90s. We are now 20 years later, and it's still not over. There are always new things, implications, changings. So that's how it is. Well, and we from Everlag, we are member of the project team. We would be also a member at the end when it is implemented. We would try to keep into touch with you, to be a partner in the further discussion process. Me and my colleague Elena, she is also here present at this event. Well, and so I would say that's for now. It's a start, and now we should go on, and we should plan the next steps, and we should invite you all to become member of this idea and member of this team. Thank you.
Thank you, Georg. Thank you very much. And I think now we will move on to our next speaker, of course, Dr. Abdelmoula Shahabuddin. He is the secretary of the Equivalence Committee in the Ministry of Education, Higher Education, and I just learned that he is also part of the Colloquium committee as well. Dr. Shahabuddin, thank you for joining us today and sharing your thoughts. And you will be just talking very briefly about the national sustainability of the structure of the program itself in the Lebanese Ministry of Higher Education and Higher Education. Please go ahead. Dr. Shahabuddin, you might be muted, I believe.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to say, unfortunately, I didn't hear about this project before for some reasons, but it's okay. As they said, better to arrive than never, to arrive late than never. So I want to thank you, my director, Dr. Fadi Yarak, to give me this opportunity to be with you, to share this project. And I am very glad to listen, to hear these presentations from colleagues. Thank you for providing me with such a great opportunity. Hopefully my topic would bridge the gaps and provide the needed answers that contribute in generating a significant shift in higher education. In Lebanon, many higher education institutions tend to implement sustainability precepts. One of these implementations is this collaboration to create a diploma supplement standard in Lebanon, like many other countries in Europe. DS provide our students an added value to their degree. In addition, it facilitates the recognition of their degrees, especially if we develop a very well-structured diploma that provides our national framework with a structured international map. This would make it easy for the European higher education to count the exact actual credits of our students. Here in Lebanon, the Equivalence Committee stands to demand applicants applying from Europe to provide diploma supplement alongside with the required documents. This can grant the applicants much higher chances of recognizing their degree. I have an Italian diploma supplement, right, next to me to use it as an example. It provided us with extra information that helped us to count more credits for the applicant. It states how many workshops the applicant had to join in order to graduate. In certain cases, workshops can be used as an offset for missing credits, which in return would help the candidates to earn the full recognition of their degree. Also, it includes all the future career passes a student can follow in case she wants to pursue with higher degrees. In the Italian one, it states that students may take different careers nationally and internationally as architects, urban planner, urban designers, and the project managers. Also, all information is provided in English and Italian languages. Moreover, it states that the qualification is awarded after passing a final exam consisting of a presentation and discussion of a final project selected among the didactic themes proposed during the academic year and developed with the supervision of the faculty. It's made of a project that is supported by one or more products, technical materials, and digital presentation in front of the commission and a dossier that includes the related research. All these extra information provided in the Italian diploma supplement are not included in transcript. That's why it's insufficient to depend completely on the transcript alone. Also, in some countries, they take into consideration the work achievements of the applicants and count them as extra credits. One of the main countries that the equivalence committee usually receives such cases is France. This is an important aspect that we should take into consideration when generating the main contents of our Lebanese diploma supplement. In addition, DS should contain extra skills students and be gained throughout their study, especially for master, as Dr. Subhi said, for master and PhD candidates. This can also have a role in favoring one applicant over another, since lots of universities take into consideration applicants' extra skills, especially master and PhD candidates. In Lebanon, most of the curriculums are taught using either English or French language, and the majority of our students apply to English or French-speaking countries to pursue their higher degrees. This makes it essentially to generate our Lebanese diploma supplement in Arabic, English, and French languages. In addition to what I have stated previously, this would be a great factor for our students to be fully recognized by European institutions. In the near future, most probably the diploma supplement will be a national requirement with a diploma certificate and a transcript. For this reason, it's important to provoke a diploma supplement standard in Lebanon to be in an alignment with the global sustainability agenda. Last but not least, I hope that our strategy would work efficiently as we foresee it. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. It's highly appreciated to participate with you this project and to give me this opportunity to give some ideas from my little experience in the Ministry of Higher Education, which I hope to be useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shahabuddin. Of course, we will definitely be meeting with you to discuss further on, because I think in the end, the diploma supplement falls under your jurisdiction in one way or another. So we will have lengthy meetings with you. We are warning you from now. We will have lengthy meetings with you on the subject, myself and my Lebanese partners and European partners as well. So thank you again for joining us in this session today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We now go to a bit more technical part of our presentation, and it's we are moving towards as we can say, technology in a way. We have our colleague, Mr. Serge Rave with us today, who is leading the work package related to the platform and implementing the platform. Serge, would you like to share your experience with us and tell us what is coming in the future horizon of LEBPASS? Your microphone is muted, Serge.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you, Rhonda. Yes, I forgot to unmute. So I'll try to be not too technical, but so non-technical people will understand what I'm speaking about. So the title of the presentation is about making the diploma supplement actionable and future-proof. And I explain what I mean. Because once you have created a diploma supplement, what do you do with it? Okay. And our idea is really to make it useful, so to make it what we call actionable. So if you look at a diploma supplement, it is a document that is produced by institution of higher education, and that will be consumed by someone. And the consumers will be the employers, maybe other institute of higher education. So the learners are the kind of intermediate. They create the data that will be in the diploma supplement. But the consumers are really the important thing, because if you create a diploma supplement, someone needs to use it. And so if you look at the whole process, you could imagine that the diploma supplement can be also a way to advertise a curriculum. It will be capturing all the logs of the artifacts that have been produced in the course of learning. It will collect evidence, and of course it will lead to a credential. So it is an accompanying document, but all the information which is in it can be extremely useful for an employer. So if we want to make it actionable, so being usable by others, we need to think in terms of semantics. And for that, I just pointed to two elements for standardization, which is the credential transparency description language and the common micro-credential framework that are very close to each other, because micro-credentials are credentials. They don't have anything special except the word that some people want to grant them with. And so if we look at what's going on in Europe, Italy has been at the forefront of this battle for a while now with BESTA, which is led by Cineca, and which is a platform, digital credentialing platform for higher education. And our colleagues from Netherlands, from SURF, on the demand of the Ministry of Education for Higher Education, created edu badges. Although it's called a badge is just a way to support information. I think people make the mistake to assume that a badge is a micro-credential. A credential is a credential. A badge is just a means to carry information. It's a vehicle for information. And in a badge, you can put any kind of information. So the idea is we would like to discuss with the consortium and with the people working with the consortium, is the idea to use badges as a vehicle for the diploma supplement, which is what our Dutch colleagues are doing and Italian colleagues to a certain extent. So what is EduBadge? EduBadge is a very simple platform. Basically, you have a platform, of course, and which is used by the educational institution to create credentials and the associated documents to the credentials, like the diploma supplement, and you have the learners that will collect this information. And of course, you need to make this system work with the student information system. So you need to create some kind of interface. But what is interesting is if you use something like a badge that can be then used within the EUROPass, because EUROPass will integrate badges. They already integrate certificates. So there will be the possibility to create a continuum of information. So if we look specifically at edu badges, which has just been released this year by SURF for the Ministry of Higher Education in Netherlands, they have created metadata extensions that are aligned with EUROPass and the diploma supplement, with things like institution name extension, institution identifier, language extension, a number of things that were mentioned by Georg earlier. And of course, there is a possibility to add more extensions. But the beauty of that is you have a standard record that will be used by a number of higher education in Europe. This is what we're working on now with our colleague in SURF. And of course, it would be wonderful if LEBPASS was at the forefront of this movement. So when we think about actionable, and if you have the employer as your target, there is one very powerful thing that is possible with badges is the idea of endorsement. So it will be possible if we use an envelope like a badge to endorse an institution of higher education, to endorse a credential, to endorse a diploma supplement, to endorse a student, to endorse a certificate or diploma supplement that has been received by a student. So this is very interesting because from something which is quite static in its origin, you can create a dynamic document that will grow as the life goes on. For example, you could imagine that when higher education of institution endorses a credential from another institution. So a lot of the work done by NARIC and other organizations could be really alleviated with this kind of technology. And also you could have also more grassroots movement where universities would be able to connect directly to endorse mutual recognition and certificates. So this is a way we would like to go, and we would be ready for a pilot very soon.
Thank you, Serge. You're very optimistic. Hopefully we will. That's one of our major goals. Thank you for sharing with us this futuristic idea of the diploma supplement, or the badge, as you call it, which seems very interesting. It will also be discussed at length amongst all the partners, and I hope we will have a way forward to move and go. We are willing to, since we are now in 2021, I think we should implement the 4 months technology or make use of the current technology and not to take a step back, but move forward. As you said, hopefully we will be in Lebanon as the forefront. We love being at the forefront of everything in Lebanon. So this would be another chance to prove that we are able to accomplish what we need to accomplish. We will now, I think, Georg, it's your turn to go into the question and answers. I believe we have some questions on the Menti platform. Please go ahead, Georg.
Yes, okay, just a moment. Okay, I think, well, I think it's something, well, when will it be implemented in Lebanon? How much time does this project need to get ready? Well,
can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. If you can answer here yourself. Yeah, Dr. Mattar is with us. Thank you.
Well, Georg, just let me answer this. In fact, the project is scheduled from 2019 to 2022. But when it will be implemented, this is a big question, because we hope We hope we could do it yesterday, in fact, but we're trying to do our best to have it implemented as soon as possible. And as many of the people who already had interventions mentioned, it's somehow an open project between quotations, the diploma supplement. So we hope it will be implemented, as I said, as soon as possible, but for sure there will be maybe later on some modifications, some amendments. We will be having one pilot year, and based on this year, of course, we will see how to have it more structured within the Lebanese higher education system.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, would it be possible for students to get a diploma supplement before the end of their study to show to an employer for work experience placement? Well, I think if I caught it right, the idea of implementation, like presented by Serge, that would mean it's a badge.
Yeah.
And well, you don't have to wait till some education is finished. Education is never finished. You are collecting the badges.
Actually, the diploma supplement is something that is dynamic. It can go on. So if a student, for example, I believe it's applying for a training or internship in some job, he can actually take the diploma supplement of what he has actually accomplished till that time. And that's one of the badges we were talking about. So it is dynamic. It's not just like a diploma that you get at the end of your studies. As you go on in your years of studies, the courses will be added, your training experience will be added, your the workshops that you've completed will be added. So it's a dynamic document, or not document, a dynamic entity on its own.
And I think in this aspect, today was a very good experience, because we see our audience has the same issues. They want to have it dynamic. The questions are not a static, but dynamic thing. Yes. So we have to keep it in mind.
Definitely.
I want to comment on this. I think that the diploma supplement is not issued at any time. It's a supplementary document that is issued upon graduation, not before.
Okay. So maybe we would have to compose, we'd have to go back to.
But there seemed to be the demand of some dynamic.
Yeah.
Some dynamic
yes,
part
but
of it.
On your way towards your degree, you may use your EUROPass CV, you may use any other documents, the language passport, or if you have been on mobility, you can use the EUROPass mobility, but the diploma supplement is something that gathers everything throughout your studies. So it presents your complete educational and other profile upon graduation.
Okay.
Yes, this might be the definition now, because but if people in your CV and all that, you won't have all the information you would have in a diploma supplement after 3 years study if your diploma is after 4 years. So that would be very important information that students should be able to have, because after all, it is personal information, and personal information should be in control of the student. So if students say, I want an extract of my diploma supplement today, they should have it, because this is their data, and the institution shouldn't have the right to refuse it. They might say it's not a full diploma supplement, but it should be the right of the student to say, this is information about what I've learned. I should have the right to obtain this information, because it is useful for me now and not in 3 years' time.
I think this is an issue for discussion, further discussion amongst the group when we go back to discuss the diploma supplement as it is and go on with the final version of the diploma supplement.
But it's also a legal issue. It's also how people control their data, and it should be to the benefit of the university as well.
Yes. Okay. Yarak, do we have any other questions?
No. We are at the end.
Okay. Would anyone like to raise their hands and ask a question verbally, or can we consider that we have finished the question answer session and move on to the next part of our presentations? Well, we've ended the presentations, but I'm just going to conclude. the sessions now. Georg, would you mind please sharing your, okay.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Okay. Oops, sorry. I have a problem with my presentations. Now it's my problem. Now I have technical difficulties. Okay, here we are. Okay, here we go. Okay, and now we will be talking about, well, coming close to the closing, so it's nearly close to the end. I'm just going to be sharing with you some of the links that we have for our sharing and promotion. We have our LEBPASS website, and you will notice under the LEBPASS website, called work packages. So if you click on the work packages and you have the deliverables, so for example, the benchmarking report is there, the survey is there, the report of the survey is there, everything that has been has been presented and is applicable for publication is posted on the LEBPASS website. We have our Facebook webpage and our Twitter account. If you
don't hear you.
I guess we lost Randa, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Randa is
okay, Randa just informed me there is an electricity issue. So I think, well, we just have to leave it by that.
No, in fact, Georg, if you allow me, Randa was sharing just our communication platforms. So we would like to invite everyone attending this meeting to share these platforms as well with other colleagues, and maybe to visit them just to see the progress of the project. And we really hope to see some additional maybe partners or potential partners or people who are interested, because as mentioned previously throughout the presentations, this is a national project. It's not a standalone project that is implemented by some universities in Lebanon. It is a national project, and we really hope to see it integrated within the national policy of the country, which would obviously promote or enhance quality education, and which would make the qualification of students more transparent, more visible, and clearer, of course. I believe this is what Randa was planning to say. I'm not sure, Georg, if you have any additional thing as a co-host of this event to add before we finish.
Well, just to stress the fact, keep on it and stay in contact with us. Keep your questions, ask your questions, use the social media links we provided you. We want to bring in we want to bring further the project idea. We want to work together with all people who have been here today. So I think it was a good start after this very long year of Corona, where we didn't meet, and now we should gather our energy and go straight forward and bring the discussion further, so that it at the end will be a very good result. That would be, for my part, everything. And I think all presentations will be published online. There will be possibilities to contact us directly and just to deepen the discussion. So, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And Randa is back, I think. Perfect.
So sorry. I'm really sorry. I lost the electricity.
We just came to the end without of you.
We started without Rima and you ended without me. So that is the situation. I don't know. Well, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Dr. Shahabuddin. Thank you, Serge. Thank you, Emma. Well, I don't know how to thank you all. I hope it was, and the interesting part is I believe most of the questions that we had were from our students. Based on the way the questions were provided, I believe that they were from our students in one way or another. I'm just going to end the recording at
they like it because they have well understood that it's very relevant to their institutional approach to this diploma supplement. I know that you called it LEBPASS because there is something confusing here, because LEBPASS is like EUROPass, while what you are doing is a diploma supplement. It's something more than the EUROPass. So it's so you still need a lot of discussions, and I'm sure you will get it. I know that you are working in a very difficult situation, very difficult context in Lebanon regarding not only the general economic situation, but also the context of the Lebanese higher education sector. It's very difficult, but you will manage. If you need any help, we can help you if you want. So we are there to support you at any moment you need. So see you very soon in a monitoring visit. So I hope that you will have achieved something by that time. I am thinking of the month of May or June to do some monitoring. So I hope then in the meantime you will achieve something concrete. I mean, other than what you've described today, you've done very well, and so good luck. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Arif. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sufi. Thank you very much. We will hopefully get there. And just to continue to say that it's called LEBPASS, but we're working on the diploma supplement because I think that the sustainability of the project does not end just with the LEBPASS. This is part of the sustainability of it growing into other components like the EUROPass, whereas the curriculum, the language, all the other components that are found in the EUROPass are part of the sustainability of this project. I believe this is the way we should be heading, and not just frame ourselves just on the diploma supplement and stop there, because the technology is allowing us to do that. So I think we can look more and more into different aspects that we would like to go into. Georg, I'm not sure if you were presented the poll or were we able to get any?
Not yet, no.
Okay, we actually created a little poll, but I think most of the attendees have gone now. We will reach out to all the attendees of the seminar with the questions we had. The poll was actually directed to who would like to be an active member or active as partner in one of the other work packages we have, or even the discussion on the diploma supplement itself. As you said, Dr. Arif, we should start getting advocating other institutions to join the project as we should. And I think this is something that we had discussed before, that the national, what we call the national seminar today, is the first step of the building block to reach out to other institutions in Lebanon. And hopefully this will happen. At the moment, I think it's going to happen online. It's going to be reaching out. Everything's now. So we'll be reaching out electronically, hopefully, and disseminating the information that we have. I believe that's the way we should go. Would anyone else like to intervene, give their opinion, give their viewpoints? Please, this is the time for anyone to just log on and tell us their opinion.
Randa, can I say something? It's very good that you have good participation today from many universities in Lebanon. But what you need further is you need to implicate, you need to involve the decision makers.
Yes.
Because this is, the institutional ownership of an output like the one promised by LEBPASS is something which needs an institutional support an institution legalization. So you need to go further towards more decision makers at each university in Lebanon.
Yeah, that is something I think. Rima, tfaddali.
Yes, Randa, sorry. In fact, our president has already planned the presentation for university presidents because they are having their regular meetings, in fact, and he will be sharing some news about LEBPASS. He will be somehow, between quotations, mobilizing other university presidents also to buy in somehow.
Very good.
Yep, and I think that I've already discussed with Dr. Mattar. We're going to have a one-on-one meeting with her to discuss for the next partners meeting, especially the Lebanese partners meeting, and we will be discussing at least how the Lebanese partners, since if they have their higher administration on, they definitely have their administration on board since they are partners, but we will also be distributing the other institutions amongst ourselves so that we can network each one of us to reach out to the specific person that we feel is the targeted, or we can discuss with any contact person we have in the institutions that we know, and who is actually the person we should target to discuss the LEBPASS or the diploma supplement aspect with, and then that's when we start growing in network.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something we have planned, and I think the next part is with the workshop that is coming up that Georg or Evalag is going to be in charge of. That is somewhere we can also we start structuring ourselves as institutions and what should be done further along the way. And I'm glad that we had some Lebanese institutions with us today. I noticed we had the Antonine University, we had the LGU University. So I'm sorry if I didn't mention all the universities because I have not been through all the attendees list, but we will definitely reach out to all the institutions because we have a list of the contacts that we should do. And with the help of our president, Father Talal, we will also be able to disseminate it to the upper management. And as Emma said, it's an up-down process and a down-up process. So we're trying to hit both aspects of it. I think we've come to we were supposed to be here for 2 hours. I think we've gone on for 2.5 hours. Thank you very much for your patience. Dr. Mattar, would you like to close the session for us today?
She's already closed it,
In fact, again, I would like to thank everyone for this great participation. I believe we have many ideas, many topics that we have put on table and that would require further follow-up and further discussions. I believe we will have a lot to do in the coming few months. Again, thanks for all the input, for the questions that triggered some new ideas, and we hope to be able to meet next time in person, hopefully, fingers crossed. And looking forward to seeing you all. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, everyone. Please stay safe, all of you. Very important.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.